Hi everyone, this is Marianne and welcome to my channel. This is my update for the first week of my own contribution to the One Book July Challenge for 2018. I am currently on version 4, which means that this has a digital aspect. Like I explained in my introduction video, which I will link down below, I am trying out a digital alarm-based schedule for working on the entire body of my graduate thesis beyond the chapter 1 that I have already written last year. And for the alarm, I'm using an Apple Watch. And you guys, it was really rough and bumpy. I could not keep up with the schedule that I have set for myself. Let me tell you what happened. On Monday, July 2, I was able to start studying as scheduled at 5 a.m. My alarm went off. I stopped it instead of snoozing it. I got out of bed, went to my little study table at the foot of my bed, and got the coffee. I am not a coffee person, but it does wake me up, and at 5 o'clock in the morning, I certainly needed waking up. That coffee is what I used to drink my medication one with. Like what Romani says, first drink the coffee and then do the things. Of course, it's not required at all, but I did need the coffee. And then I dove right into the book, which contains the secondary sources I will be needing for one of the books that I will be analyzing for my thesis. I decided that I will be analyzing the Dalisay novel Soledad's Sister first, because that's the one that's been on my mind the most and the longest. I have already read that novel and I have already written some bullet points of what I want to say, so it's just a matter of finding secondary sources and then writing the entire thing. At 5:30, the second alarm for the day went off to remind me that I need to take my medicine too, and after that I went on with studying until 6:30 in the morning. Because I am not a coffee person, like I said, by the time I had to go to work there was still coffee in the can, so I brought the can with me and finished it while I walked to the terminal where I often took the public utility vehicle to go to work. I also brought the book with me just in case I would have some free time or lulls at work so I can squeeze in some studying. We are allowed to do personal things at work, provided that we do work stuff first and we don't use office equipment for our personal needs. But it was a very busy day at work because it's a Monday and it was also my first day back at work after a 2-week leave, which I explained in my flip through video for June, so I wasn't able to do any studying in the office. But back at the dorm at 6 o'clock, I tried to start studying again. And this is where things kind of started to fall apart. First of all, I did not take into account the time that I needed to decompress and sort of get into the studying frame of mind right after working and then going through traffic. So I was able to actually start studying at 6:30. I also did not factor in how tired I was going to be at the end of a workday, so I was able to study only for an hour. After about an hour, I noticed that I could not retain anything much, and it took me longer to finish reading a page, and I started making mistakes in the citations that I was typing up, and I actually moved to the bed thinking that I could think better there, but it didn't work, so I decided to call it a day. Here is my hypertext at this point. As you can see, the dark rose color that represents my study time is on there from 5 a.m. till 6:30, and then from 6:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. On the next day, I started studying at 5:10. I was up at 5 actually, but I had to go to the bathroom. And the coffee for the day was this one, and it's really strong and I didn't like it so much. I do need coffee to wake me up at 5 a.m., but not that much. I took my medication and then started studying and then took my medication again at 5:30 and then went on studying until 6:30 a.m. as planned. But on that day, I was actually able to study at the office. Here I am at my work desk. The first thing I did when getting to the office was to send in some work that was due that day and to follow up on a project that I was waiting on, and then there was nothing to do after that. June and July are usually very slow months in the office because it comes right at the tail of our busiest months, which is April and May, so I was able to do some personal stuff in the office while waiting on things. When I got home, though, I was really so tired and I had leg tiredness as well. I wasn't able to study, and by 8 p.m., I was already using my leg massager. This was really one of the things that my doctor told me to watch out for. Because I have been diagnosed as hypothyroidal, I get fatigued very easily, so it's important to pace myself, and that is what I did not factor in when I was making my plans for this One Book July. Here is my hypertext for the day. As you can see, I was able to work on my thesis from 5 a.m. till 6:30 and then from 8 to 8:30 because I did have to get some work done in the office. On the next day, I really could not get out of bed when the alarm went off at 5, so I slept in until 6:30 and then took my medications and then went to work. But I was able to study for an hour in the morning and then for another half hour in the afternoon. But in the evening, I was dead tired and could not do any more thesis work. Here is my hypertext for the day. Notice the dark rose colors on 10:30 to 11:30 and at 4 to 4:30. On July 5, I was able to study in the morning upon waking up, but not exactly at 5. I was able to start studying at 5:30 and then went on until 6:30 and then went to work. Outside my office building, I decided to buy some taho from the vendor that's always there every morning. Taho is really just tofu scraped from this giant vat over here and then placed in a cup. And then some arnibal or sweetener is placed inside the cup together with sago, which are those very small round things. For breakfast in the office, I had champorado. It's a rice porridge flavored with cacao. It's a very popular porridge in my country, and sometimes we have it in the office cafeteria. On this day, we had it, so that's what I ordered. Milk is usually added to make it more creamy. And here's the taho. Some people drink it straight from the cup, some drink it with a straw, but I like to have it with a spoon as if it were food and not a beverage. I'm not even sure if it's food or a beverage, but it doesn't really matter to me. I did do some work for an hour, but it was a very slow day at work, so I was able to get more studying done while enjoying my breakfast. For lunch, I had kare kare. It's this very complicated dish that has pork and vegetables, and the sauce is made with peanut butter and some other things, but the taste is very bland, so it's always served with bagoong, which is a paste made of very small fish and very small prawns. Back at the dorm, I started working on my thesis at 7, but I had to end at 8. I could not do anything more after that. Here is my hypertext for the day. Thesis time was at 5:30 to 6:30 a.m., 8:30 to 9 a.m., 9:30 to 10 a.m., and then 7 to 8 p.m. I also had to see our company doctor at around 4:30 because I really felt so fatigued towards the end of the workday. On July 6, I did not study before work. I woke up only at 6:30, but I was able to study for only half an hour at work. But in the afternoon, I went to school for something, and then I ran into my critic, Dr. Ruth Bison, and we talked a while about my thesis, and I told her all that I was going through, and she said, "You know, I think whatever you already have can already be subjected to a thesis proposal defense just to finalize all those ideas swimming around in your head and in your drafts, and there's really no need to overcomplicate it. You just submit it and the panel will help you out." That was such a big relief for me. And here is my hypertext for the day with just 30 minutes of thesis work, and those red fields are the time that I spent in school. For the rest of the week, I did nothing connected to my thesis because I had to run errands on Saturday and also pick up a new printer, which I talked about in another video, which I will link down below, and then I was dead tired after that. On Sunday, I stayed in to take a rest and regroup and pretty much figure out how I would go on from here. So to summarize, my first week for One Book July version 4 was a bit of a fail. I could not stick to a very rigid schedule because of my hypothyroidal condition. Also, I set for myself a very rigid, almost scientifically precise schedule for a project that was not even scientific. My research is in comparative literature and as such is very arbitrary, so the mode of thinking needed is very fluid, and when it was partnered with a very rigid schedule plus my hypothyroidal condition, it really was not working. So from here, I will shift methods. I will be going back to One Book July version 3, which is Go Big or Go Home. My one book will be my thesis, and my Go Big or Go Home would be my thesis. I hope this video about a rather chaotic week would still be helpful for you. I hope your One Book July is going well for you, and I hope the coming week would be better for me. I really just wanted to be very honest in this update video. I will upload an update video next Monday. Thanks for watching. Bye!